most of the time, we're not present. It's almost like we're unconscious, we're lost in the world of our thoughts. We're numbing ourselves with scrolling on our phones. When talking with someone else, we're daydreaming. We're not actually listening to the other person, but thinking about something else, thinking about what we'll say next. When working, we get distracted easily. We ruminate over the past and worry about the future. And we miss out on the beauty and the stillness of this present moment. We so rarely bring our attention to here and now and just sit here, just focusing on what's in front of us right now. Now, just to be clear, I still don't know a lot of stuff. I still don't understand a lot of shit about this. But as far as I know and as far as I heard, the more we bring our attention to this present moment, the more we deepen our presence, the more everything in our life will become better. I'm not joking. We can solve a lot of our problems and get rid of them just with presence. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the different ways presence can help us, how to be more present, and that in reality, there is only this present moment. So we get into that deeper stuff at the end of the video. And I hear this everywhere. So many people are talking about this present moment. So many videos that I've watched and books that I read talk about mindfulness and this present moment. Almost every religion and Eastern philosophy mentions this present moment, being mindful, being more present. And also, for example, in the book The Way of the Superior Man, one of the key lessons about handling relationships is presence, deepening your presence, being here right now, being more loving, more conscious, more humorous in every moment. For example, let me just read you what's on the back of that book. This is what it says here on the back of this book. It says that when a man's value is no longer measured by what he does, by his finances or social standing, how does he determine his worth? In our new world, a man's presence, his depth of awareness, is his most valuable asset. So as you can see, presence and awareness is quite an important stuff. I mean, as you can see, it says here it's our most valuable asset. And I can also talk from personal experience. There are so many times where just sitting there, being present, can bring me so much peace and stillness. Just watching the trees, watching the clouds go by, just focusing on what's in front of me. Being grateful for this present moment. Just growing with this present moment, just really like digging this present moment. It can be such a great thing. For example, one place where presence helped me a lot is actually eating. You see, when I ate, I always used to watch something on YouTube. But you see, the thing was that I wasn't really eating. I wasn't present. I was watching something else and I wasn't really there tasting the food and being grateful for it. So what I started doing is something called like mindful eating. Where basically, when I eat, I just eat. I only focus on the food in front of me. And also when I sit down and start eating, I close my eyes and just really taste the food, every texture, every different taste, and just be there present, letting that taste be the whole of my experience. And it makes such a difference, really, being there. And when you're eating, just eating. I actually made a whole video about mindful eating. You can go and watch it if you're interested. Now, for example, another place where presence can help a lot, and it's very important, is relationships, talking with other people, social situations. As we said before, The Way of the Superior Man talks about this, the importance of awareness, the importance of presence. And you also had this experience probably, for example, when you meet someone and you just know that they are there, that they are actually listening to you, and they have this like deep gaze where they are like looking into your soul, and they cannot be moved, of course, they cannot be distracted. They are so present that you can actually feel it. Like, that makes such a difference. And now imagine the guy that when you're talking to him, he's not even listening. He's not even like really there. He's thinking about something else. He's taking shallow breaths compared to the other guy who's taking deep breaths. And he's there, his presence is deep. And he's maintaining eye contact, not like the other guy. it makes such a huge difference. And now there are also countless other situations in which presence can help. But now let's talk about how to actually be more present. And the number one advice that I can give you is to start breathing properly. Start taking deep breaths. That's one of the best ways to be more mindful and to be more present. To breathe deeply, breathing into your belly, your lower belly, like right below your belly button, and fully filling your lungs with air. For example, let's take a deep breath together. Focus on filling your belly with air. And just let it out fully, slowly, and smoothly. Let's take another breath. Let's do another one. Go deep. Breathe into your balls. You want to take such a deep breath that you can almost feel your balls slightly moving. And also, just bring your attention here in this present moment. I mean, it's not that hard really. Just bring your attention to what's going on right now and stop thinking so much. So practice this breathing throughout your day at random times, and trust me, this will actually help a lot. Like properly breathing, because 99% of the time we're breathing shallowly and our presence is weak. But when we start breathing more deeply, we can deepen our presence. And of course, meditation can also help, because when you're meditating, you're really bringing your attention back to the present moment, focusing on your breath. And another tip that I have is try to focus on small steps, on what's in front of you right now. For example, instead of thinking that, okay, now I'm going to have a mindful meal, just think of having a mindful bite. Just focusing on the bite in front of you. Or when you're meditating, just focus on this inhale and then the next exhale. And then just really focus on this inhale and then the next exhale. Or for example, if you're washing dishes. Because the art of washing dishes is that you only have to wash one dish. Because when you look at it from the perspective of the past and the future, there's countless dishes that you have washed before, and there's countless piles of dishes that you have to wash. But when you get your mind in the state of reality in this present moment, you only have to wash one dish. So you really wash that dish, and you make it into a dance. You play with it, and you just swing it, and you go like this, like whoosh, 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 and you put it up on the rack, and you could take the other dish, and you only focus on that dish right now, because in reality, in this present moment, there is only this dish. So that's what I'm talking about. Taking it in small steps and only focusing on what's in front of you. For example, if you have to study, don't think about all the shit that you have to do. Just think about the first sentence that you got to read, or the first sentence that you got to write. And do that. That's the way to beat procrastination. Now let's get into some deeper stuff. You see, a lot of our suffering comes from us not being in the present moment and living in a world of illusions. By that I mean we suffer a lot in our imaginations because of our thoughts. We dwell on the past and worry about the future, but we don't realize that they don't exist, that they are only abstractions, meaning they are detached from reality, and they are only existing in our thoughts. Because think about it. Does the past and the future exist when you're not thinking about it? If you lost all your memories, it would just be gone. It's all an abstraction. The only thing that exists is this present moment. There is only this present moment. And when we start paying more attention to it and being more present, we realize that everything is alright. Everything is as it's supposed to be. For example, we suffer in imagination when we're worrying about a test. What's going to happen? But you see, no amount of anxiety will change anything. It will probably only make it worse. And we're suffering because of something that hasn't happened yet. We're suffering in advance for no reason at all. And maybe in reality, right now, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong right now. But yet, we let the thoughts about the future, which are most of the time bullshit, ruin our present moment. Or another example, maybe you're laying in bed and you're thinking about all the shit that you got to do today, all the work, all the stuff, and you're starting to feel bad. You don't want to get out of bed and you feel depressed or sad or anxious. When in reality, you're just chilling in a bed. You're in a comfortable bed. There's nothing wrong right now. But the thoughts about the future stings this present moment and ruins our present moment. Are you starting to see how the past and the future are just abstractions, that they don't exist? So this means that there is only this present moment and there's nothing outside of it. And do you know what's even more interesting? That it's not only that there's nothing outside of this present moment, that there's no one outside of it experiencing this present moment, that there's not an I that's separate from it, that's experiencing this present moment. That's also an illusion. Now, this is some deep stuff, and to be honest, I might be wrong about the next things that I'm going to be saying, but I just find it so fascinating. Now, let me try to explain. Think about it. When I ask you the question, who are you right now? How would you answer that? Who are you right now? You might say your name, what you're doing, stories about yourself, except my question was not who you were, but who are you in this moment? You see, you can't use memories, you can't use the past, but who are you right now? You see, it's hard to answer the questions. I mean, really what you could say is only what you're experiencing right now. I mean, maybe that's who you are. It's like we have this chain that we link together and we're dragging it from the past with us. And now you see, even in the most obvious moments of self-awareness, we're never aware of someone doing the awareing. We're always aware of a sensation or an experience. For example, our muscles tensing, or our feelings, or the blood going through our body, or us breathing. The sense of touch or feeling hot or cold, it's always a sensation or an experience. But you see, we're never aware of someone doing the awareing. We're never aware of someone experiencing the experience or perceiving the experience. It's the same, it's like you can't smell your own nose. You see, we can't catch ourselves in the act of observing. We can't observe ourselves in the act of observing because we're doing the observing. It's like your eye can't see itself because it's doing the seeing. It can't see itself. So in every moment, experience is everything. And there's not a separate me that is living this experience. But you see, the problem is that a lot of the times we're trying to escape this present moment, this experience, and we're wishing for a better moment. We're separating ourselves from our experience and we think that we can escape it. But this is the important thing that you got to realize. That you cannot escape this present moment. You cannot escape this experience because you are it. You are this experience, you are this present moment, and you can't separate yourself from it and be in another moment. That you are what you're experiencing right now. Let me try to explain. For example, when we're really happy, we're totally present and aware of this moment, and we let this experience be total. We kind of forget ourselves in the moment, in the happiness, and we don't try to separate ourselves from this experience, from this moment. But you see, when we're in pain, when we're in some kind of uncomfortable situation, we separate ourselves from the experience. We think that there's me and then the experience that is happening to this me. But you see, you can't have an experiencer without an experience. So in reality, they are inseparable from each other. So we separate ourselves and we go round and round in circles, thinking that we can save me, we can save this I from this experience. Or even just get rid of the experience. But you see, this is like sitting down on a chair and trying as hard as possible to not feel the chair pressing against your body. That's stupid. Just can't do that. Just like in the same way, you can't really get rid of a headache as hard as you try. You can try to stand up, but you can't get rid of the sensation. Now, I'm not saying to not do anything when something bad happens to you. That's not the point. Of course, when you can do something about it, do something about it. The point is to realize that you cannot escape this experience. Because you are nothing else than what you know right now. You're nothing else than what you're experiencing right now. And you can't get rid of it. Just in the same way, you can't get rid of up and just keep the down. You need to have up and down at the same time. You can't have one without the other. So the way to deal with pain and these uncomfortable situations that we want to get out of is to face it. To not try to escape it and to not separate yourself from it, because you can't. You see, pain is the condition of the present moment. And if there's nothing to do, then just accept it and live it as fully as you would a happy moment. Forget yourself in it as you would when you're totally happy. Just fully live it. Just being here right now and fully living it, and not naming it as sad or as a lonely experience, not comparing it to past memories of experiences, and seeing it as a new and a unique experience. Because in reality, every single moment is new, it's unknown, it's changing, it's unique. There's not a single moment that is the same. Because you see, when we're happy, we're totally happy and we forget ourselves in it. We don't name it. We don't just stand there and say yep, I'm happy right now. No, we don't give it a name. We only do that once we remember that it's going to end or the intensity of it goes down. But you see, in that moment, we're so present and absorbed in that experience that we don't stop to think. We let that experience be the total of everything. We let that experience be all. We're not naming it, because naming is based on comparison, and to compare, you need to remember another experience from the past. And that means that you're not living in this present moment right now. And you see, actually, in reality, you can't compare two experiences authentically. You can't do that, because to compare two things, for example, two colors, you'd have to alternate between those two colors, because you can only think of one thing at a time and bring your attention to one thing at a time, this conscious spotlight attention. And you'd have to alternate between the two really fast to really compare them. But you can't do this with experiences. You can't authentically switch and alternate between being happy and sad. So what you're really doing is comparing it with a memory of that experience. But you see, a memory of an experience is not the same, not at all the same as the experience itself. The memory of happiness, it doesn't even come close to the experience of happiness. So you see, we can't put reality, this present moment, into words. And it's the same with memories. They are not enough to explain a reality in this present moment. They miss this juice. It's almost like they are dead. They are fixated. But reality, this present moment, is always changing. It's alive. And thinking and words and memories are dead. But this present moment is alive. So we just can't put reality into words, because what we're trying to do is put it into a line, into a string of words. But reality runs on infinite many lines at the same time. So it's impossible. So there are two ways of understanding experience. First, we can compare it with memories of experiences, naming and defining them as such, which means that we're interpreting them according to something dead and something past. Or we can be aware of the experience as it is. Like when we're totally happy and we forget ourselves in the experience, totally living that experience, forgetting about the past and the future, and letting the present moment be everything, be all, totally living it, and not stopping to think that I am happy, not naming them and labeling them. You see, the difference between these two is knowing something through words or the immediate knowledge of that thing. You see, it's like explaining the color red or seeing the color itself. For another great analogy, a menu is important, but it cannot be replaced with the food itself. Or a map is great, it's useful, but it's not even comparable with the land that it describes. So when we try to understand experience through memories, it's not as profound as understanding them directly as it is. Now, just to be clear again, I might have said a bunch of bullshit right now in this video, but I think that this is all very interesting and very fascinating. So I'm very interested to hear what you think about all of this stuff. You can leave a comment and tell me in the comments what do you think about this. And also, if you're interested doing free one-on-one calls, you can send me an email and ask me anything. We'll arrange a video call and talk about anything that you want. You can ask me any question that you want. So you can send an email if you want. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. Have a great day. All the love towards you. And goodbye. I'm gonna go now because I have to take a piss really bad. So goodbye.